On April 30th, 1789, George Washington became the first president of the United States. The country was new, fragile, and facing enormous challenges. The states often argued, the treasury was empty, and the nation owed huge debts. The Constitution was untested, no one knew if it would work. Most of the world doubted a republic could survive. Washington understood that every decision he made would set a precedent. He had to invent what it meant to be president, with no guide to follow. The country was vast, communication was slow, and people's lives varied greatly from region to region. Foreign threats loomed. British soldiers still occupied western forts, and Spain controlled key southern ports. Washington's greatest challenge was to build trust among the people, the states, and foreign nations. He was respected for leading the army to victory, but now he had to lead the nation to stability. His presidency would be a battle of ideas and compromise, not weapons. The foundation he built would determine if the nation could last. Washington's wisdom and courage would be tested at every turn. The world watched to see if America's experiment in self-government would succeed. The stakes could not have been higher. Washington's leadership would shape the future of the presidency and the country. He was determined to unite the states and prove that a government by the people could endure. The journey ahead would require vision, patience, and strength. The fate of the new nation rested on his shoulders. When Washington took office, there were no presidential traditions. He had to create them. His inauguration in New York City set the tone solemn, but not royal. He chose the simple title, Mr. President, rejecting grand titles that sounded like monarchy. This small decision sent a big message. The president was a citizen, not a king. Washington knew he couldn't govern alone. He formed the first cabinet, choosing Jefferson for state, Hamilton for treasury, Knox for war, and Randolph as attorney general. The cabinet became a model for future presidents, showing the value of expert advice and debate. Washington listened to all sides before making decisions, establishing the presidency as an office of careful deliberation. He set the precedent for regular cabinet meetings and collaborative leadership. These choices shaped the executive branch for generations. Washington's presidency was about building government piece by piece, always with an eye on the future. He balanced authority with humility, never forgetting he served the people. Every action he took helped define the office for those who would follow. The traditions he started, simple titles, a cabinet, and seeking advice, became cornerstones of American government. Washington's leadership style set the standard for presidents to come. He showed that power could be exercised with restraint and wisdom. The presidency became an institution, not a throne. Washington's example would guide the nation long after he left office. He built the foundation for a government of laws, not men. With the new government in place, Congress passed the Judiciary Act of 1789, creating the federal court system. Washington appointed John Jay as the first Chief Justice, ensuring the courts would be respected and independent. The new courts unified the nation under a single, legal framework and enforced federal laws in every state. At the same time, many demanded a Bill of Rights to protect individual freedoms. James Madison led the effort, drafting amendments that guaranteed essential liberties like free speech, religion, and fair trials. By 1791, 10 amendments were ratified as the Bill of Rights. These rights reassured citizens that the government would respect their freedoms. The Bill of Rights became a cornerstone of American democracy. The creation of a strong judiciary and the Bill of Rights helped secure support for the new Constitution. Washington's careful appointments built trust in the new system. The rule of law was established. Everyone, even the government, must obey the law. The courts provided a way to resolve disputes and protect rights. These early steps were vital for the nation's stability. The new legal system and guaranteed rights set America apart from monarchies. Washington's leadership ensured justice and liberty would be at the heart of the republic. As the nation grew, new states joined the Union: Vermont, Kentucky, and Tennessee. Westward expansion brought energy, but also conflict. Settlers moved into lands already home to Native American tribes, leading to violent clashes. In the Northwest Territory, tribes formed a confederation to resist American expansion, supported by the British. The resulting Northwest Indian War tested the government's ability to protect its citizens and assert authority. Early American military campaigns ended in disaster, with heavy losses and national embarrassment. The defeats showed how fragile the new nation was. Washington faced the challenge of securing the frontier and uniting the country. The struggle for the West would be long and costly. The government's response would shape its credibility and future expansion. The conflict highlighted the difficulties of governing a growing, diverse nation. Washington's leadership was crucial in facing these Western troubles. The outcome would determine whether the United States could truly hold its territory. The nation's future depended on overcoming these early tests. The United States was drowning in debt after the Revolution. Alexander Hamilton, as Treasury Secretary, proposed a bold plan. The federal government would assume all state debts and pay them in full. This would tie the states' fortunes to the national government and build trust with creditors. Some states objected, but Hamilton argued that honoring debts was essential for national credit. He also pushed for the creation of a national bank to manage government funds and issue stable currency. The bank would promote economic growth and strengthen the federal government. Critics like Jefferson said the Constitution didn't allow for a national bank. Despite fierce debate, Hamilton's plan largely prevailed. His vision set the foundation for American capitalism. The new financial system stabilized the economy and encouraged investment. Hamilton's policies helped turn the United States into a nation with real economic power. The debates over his plan revealed deep divisions about the country's future. Washington's support was key to making Hamilton's vision a reality. The clash between Hamilton and Jefferson exposed a deep rift in Washington's cabinet. Hamilton's Federalists wanted a strong central government and a broad interpretation of the Constitution. Jefferson's Democratic Republicans favored states' rights and a strict reading of the Constitution. Their rivalry led to the first political parties. The debate over the national bank highlighted their differences. Hamilton saw it as necessary. Jefferson saw it as unconstitutional. The conflict was both political and personal, with each side attacking the other in the press. Washington tried to mediate, but the divide was too great. The arguments between Hamilton and Jefferson defined the central questions of American politics. How much power should the federal government have? What kind of nation should America become? Industrial and urban, or rural and agrarian? Washington ultimately sided with Hamilton on key issues, but the debate would shape the country for decades. The rise of political parties worried Washington, who feared division. The struggle between these visions became the heart of American democracy. Hamilton's tax on whiskey sparked fierce resistance on the western frontier. For many farmers, whiskey was essential for trade and daily life. The tax felt like an attack from a distant government, echoing old grievances against Britain. Protests escalated into the Whiskey Rebellion in Pennsylvania, with armed men attacking tax collectors. Washington saw this as a direct challenge to federal authority. He called up a massive militia and personally led troops to suppress the rebellion. The show of force ended the uprising without major violence. The government proved it could enforce its laws. The episode sent a clear message. The Constitution gave the federal government real power. Citizens could not simply ignore laws they disliked. Washington's decisive action set a precedent for handling domestic unrest. The young nation passed a crucial test of unity and authority. The rule of law was firmly established. Washington also faced international crises. The French Revolution divided Americans. Some supported France, others Britain. When France and Britain went to war, Washington declared neutrality, refusing to take sides. This decision set a precedent for American foreign policy. Relations with Britain remained tense. British troops occupied western forts and seized American ships. Washington sent John Jay to negotiate a treaty. Imperfect, but it kept the peace and secured British withdrawal from American soil. Meanwhile, Thomas Pinckney negotiated a treaty with Spain, opening the Mississippi River and New Orleans to American trade. These diplomatic successes expanded American commerce and secured the nation's borders. Washington's steady leadership kept the country out of war. His foreign policy focused on peace, growth, and independence from European conflicts. The nation's survival depended on avoiding entanglements abroad. Washington's choices shaped America's place in the world. His approach to foreign affairs became a model for future presidents. As his second term ended, Washington made a historic choice. He would not seek a third term. He wanted to show that power could be transferred peacefully in a republic. Washington's voluntary retirement set a precedent followed for over a century. In his farewell address, he urged Americans to value unity and warned against the dangers of political parties. He cautioned against permanent foreign alliances, advising the nation to focus on its own growth. Washington's advice shaped American policy for generations. He retired to Mount Vernon, leaving behind a stable government and a strong foundation. Washington had guided the nation through its most difficult years. He established the presidency, secured the borders, and kept the country out of war. His leadership proved that a republic could succeed. Washington became known as the father of his country. His example of restraint, wisdom, and service endures. The nation he helped build would face new challenges, but his legacy remained its guiding light.